evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the Kali Effect. Never would I thought we would be going back to playing any type of Yang Zings. I never thought I'd be doing a Yang Zing deck profile, but here we are, my undefeated Yang Zing Metalfoe deck profile. I actually, out of all of the years that I've been playing Yang Zing, this is probably like the smoothest variant, and it was very easy for me to play, seeing that, you know, I didn't just pick up the Yang Zing deck, and I've been playing since its inception, as opposed to the other decks were a little bit harder to me play. So the undefeated streak was almost expected for this deck. But let's get into the deck profile so I can show you guys what exactly I'm playing and what strategies did I use to go undefeated. We're going to start off with 3 copies of Jaito. Jaito is the main card of the deck. You want to open it, as well as 2 Yang Zing cards to dip to pitch to activate its effect, as well as a Metalfoe monster to set in your scale and then destroy one of your Yang Zings. That's pretty much going to set up your board. You guys seen it on my video. It's pretty nasty to open up this and some other cards with it. 3 copies of Zefranui. There was a point in time where I was running 1, and then I bumped it up to 2, and then I realized that this is probably the second best Yang Zing card in the deck besides Jaito. It's extremely good. When it's Pendulum Summoned, you get to add a Yang Zing Spell or Trap card or a Zefra Spell or Trap card from your deck to your hand. Also, on top of that, it's a 26 body, it's a Pendulum monster, it's easy to summon. It's just a really good card. Oh, it's 6. That's another great thing. It lets you make Boxia plays. 3 copies of Suanni. Suanni is 1900 attack. It has all the other Yang Zing clauses. When you synchro summon with it, the only different thing is that the monster gains 500 attack. It's pretty useful for getting over pesky monsters. There really isn't a way for me to get over the Blue Eyes Max Dragon unless I make Crystal Wing, but I never really have troubles with that anyways. 3 copies of Bian. Bian is awesome. Bian is easily the best non-tuner Yang Zing monster in the deck, mainly because he makes Herald of Arclight indestructible and then allows me to tribute it to negate spells and traps. He makes any of the monsters that I synchro summon with him indestructible, and that is a pretty useful feat. 2 copies of Chiwen. I feel like Chiwen is the worst, or the second worst tuner in the deck, or non-tuner, whatever you want to call it. Mainly because it has to activate in the graveyard. You're never going to resolve it more than once, to be honest with you guys. The second one's there just because in the event that I do resolve it twice, and it is searchable or cyclable through normal Yang Zing combinations. 2 copy of Bian, or Bixie, I'm sorry, arguably the worst Yang Zing in the game right now. Second worst, actually, mainly because trap cards are not really relevant, but it does make up for it when I go into the side deck and side in a couple of cards. But ultimately, the only reason why we're playing is because it's a level 2 monster, and its defense stat isn't that bad. 1 copy of Pulo. This is a card I actually want to bump up to 2, and the card I want to take out is going to be later for it, mainly because Pulo allows me to avoid cards like Monarch Stormforth, Raigeki, Dark Hole. It allows me to avoid a whole bunch of pesky things. So I really like Pulo in that instance. There was actually a time where Pulo was like terrible. You didn't run it, but now it's more important than ever. And then the 1 copy of Zefra. I hate this card. To be honest with you, I hate this card. There's really nothing else to say other than I hate this card. I'm running it because it's a Yang Zing name. It allows me to make Ultimate Zolkin, which is the combo I will show you guys in a second. But ultimately, I'm thinking about dropping the Zolkin idea, as well as, this card in total, just for, better consistency, another Pulo, and then maybe some other plays. But I guess it's good for making that Zolkin combo. That's pretty much it for Yang Zing monsters. For the Metalfoes, we're going to play 3 Flame. Flame is the most searchable Metalfoe monster, and that's why I play 3 of it. A lot of people will opt to play the other rank 8, the Stealing, 3 copies of Stealing, but that's not searchable through Summoner's Art. So for my 8 scales, I play Flames and Stealing. For my 1 scales, I play 3 copies of Gold Driver, which actually, he on his own right, him and Flame actually won me a game, mainly because Gold Driver is 1900 attack. I was able to attack into him, and then I was able to synchro summon into him. And then Flame with Skill Drain, it won me the game one time when I went to a time against a Demise Teller player. So, they actually got there. And then the 1 copy of Silver Red, that brings me up to 8 Metalfoes. I didn't feel like running any more copies of Metalfoe cards. I felt that 8 was a really nice sweet spot, mainly because, 8... into 30 cards, the odds of me drawing it are pretty high, and then there's the Summoner's Art, so it's 9 into 31 cards, or into 40 cards, so the odds of me drawing a Metalfoe monster was pretty high already. For spells, 3 copy of Yang Zing Path, best spell card in the game. Somebody, I was actually debating with somebody about, he didn't like it. He necessarily said he wouldn't run less than 3. I think he was probably opting to running 2, but he said he didn't like it. Pot of Avarice is hands down one of the best spell cards in the game. So why wouldn't I play a searchable version of it? Pot of Avarice, or Zing Path, whatever you want to call it, is really good for allowing me to recycle boards and allows me to run less Zings that I really want to run. 2 copies of Dark Hole. Dark Hole is an out to Monarch. You know, when they domain lock you and I want to get into my extra deck. It triggers your Zings, which is the reason why I don't play Raigeki, because, don't get me wrong, Raigeki's a great card, but it doesn't trigger my Zings. More often than not, I want my monsters to be destroyed as well as with my opponents, so Dark Hole really puts in work there. I feel like it's almost mandatory. 1 copy of Metalfoe's Fusion. I don't fuse with it often, but I will destroy it with Boxia, and then shuffle it back into my deck, and then destroy another card with my other scale. Destroy it with Boxia again, and then shuffle it back into my deck. It's a pretty decent card. The 1 copy of Summoner's Art, I'm running 3 targets with it. I could have ran 2, but I couldn't ignore running Soul Charge. Soul Charge is love, Soul Charge is life. Soul Charge will win you games just because it's Soul Charge. That's it for spells. For traps, I run 3 copies of Metalfoe Combination. Ignore this, a Metalfoe's counter is actually supposed to be a combination. I just couldn't find my 3rd combination to show you guys. This is actually what makes the combo tick. You destroy it with Boxia, you special summon your monster, and then your combination goes off to get you a scale. So, combination is really, really, really good in this deck. 2 copy of Zing Creation. Between Creation, your Metalfoe monster, combination, and Boxia, this card is going to be pretty live. The only thing that I don't like is that it's a trap. But it saves itself because it's pitchable by Jaito. So I was like, why not just run it at 2? In the tournament that I went undefeated, I was running 3, but that's only because I completely forgot to run the Zefra Divine Strike, which is Infernity Barrier, just for playing. If you open the combo, or if you can put Zefranui in your extra deck and then special summon it, this card is going to get you so many, like, it's going to get you this card, and that card is like an instant I win when you set up your board right. If you go like Harbinger, Void Ogre, and that, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to get over that. That's it for the monsters. Now for the extra deck, 1 copy of Xiaofeng. I actually made this card a lot more than I thought I would. I was just running it because, I mean, I'm sorry, Zing nostalgia. But being able to lock your opponent out of, you know, Cosmo, Dark Destroyers effects and stuff like that. And sometimes it'll be like 3,300, so, you know, there's nothing they can do about that. Being able to lock your opponent out of certain effects during the game, especially in late game, will probably win you the game straight up. And then when it's destroyed, you get the special summon of Zing. So, you know, that was always cool. And it's just it's a really good card. 1 copy of Trishula. I never summoned this card throughout the whole tournament. I'm still testing it. I'd probably drop it for something else, maybe another 7 or another Boxia, so it is what it is. This card I actually missed during the tournament, and I missed it so bad. I wanted to make this card so many times. The only reason why I didn't play it is because I forgot it, and that's genuinely the only reason. But other than that, this card is amazing, especially when you set up your first turn board, like I said, with Harbinger, this card, and then Zephyr Strike. You're probably going to win the game. 2 copies of Boxia. A lot of people were running 3, and don't get me wrong, I think that's awesome. I just didn't, throughout the whole tournament, I did not need 3 whatsoever. I only play 2. Normally, if I open with the Boxia lock, I make the Harbinger with the 2 Boxias, and the Zefranui would search the path. So, you know, after they got rid of my Harbinger, I've used Harbinger's effect. Well, here comes that Zing path to, you know, search, you know, to put the Boxias back into the deck. So, I just never needed it. Either, like, they got over the Boxia, and I path it, or they didn't get over the Boxia, or get over the Harbinger, and I won. So, it didn't really matter. 1 copy of Ignister. This card's love and life in this deck, especially since you can destroy your own scales. Another great thing is that you can destroy your opponent's scales since Pendulums are making a comeback, and it's special summon it through Zolmea. Scarlet Red. There's another card that I never summoned. But it would have been awesome to be able to summon it and destroy your own Zings as well as your opponent monsters, inflict damage, and then activate your Zing effect, set up whatever you want, and then if you flip a creation, it's probably going to be game. I really like this card in theory. 1 copy of Crystal Wing. You make this with the Ultimate Zolkin, which I did make a couple of times on that day, but I just didn't feel like, I'm not 100% sure or completely sold on running this as a proxy. 1 copy of Yazi. I made Yazi once. I made Yazi once to deck Debbie my opponent, and it won me the game. Other than that, I mean, Yazi's still a really good card. Untargetable, 2600 attack, and it recruits a Zing when it's destroyed. Black Rose Moonlight. Moonlight is awesome. Special summon it through, you know, Zolmea if you need to. That's always really good. Or just special summon it on its own right and bounce an opponent's card. Keep in mind, Yang Zings can summon Moonlight on your opponent's turn by using their effect. So I'm not sure if it missed timing or not. If this card is special summon, no, it doesn't. So that's even more awesome. Ultimate Azoken, obvious. I actually made this card a lot. Coral Dragon, and before a friend of mine corrected me, I was hella cheating. I'm not even gonna lie. The biggest reason why I love Zolmea in this deck at one point in time is because I can special summon the 2 Zefranus, and then if I had a level 4 monster, I would use the Boxia to special summon I special summon the 4 monsters through the Pendulum Scale. I special summon the Jaito, then I use that 2 and 4 to make Coral Dragon, and then I blow up a card, and then I'd synchro into the Ultimate Azoken. And just to let you know, Zoken is not a synchro summon. You have to send both to graveyard. As since Zefranui is a Pendulum monster, it can't go to graveyard, so you can't summon Zoken. But had that like been live, this deck would be lit. Like Crystal Wing, Harbinger, Void Ogre, and a Zefra Strike is just like way too good to ignore. One copy of Herald of Arclight. This card is still the bee's knees. Like the Chiwen plus the Bian to make this. I mean, worst case scenario, if you open just Jaito and you open, I guess your Chiwen or your Bian, you can still make Boxia Herald, and that's still pretty good in this metagame. One copy of mandatory Metalfoe's Adamanti. Only reason why I run it because I run the fusion and I don't want the fusion to like just sit there and be dead. There was actually a time where opponents played me and they made it like their priority to negate the Metalfoe's fusion. So I didn't want to cheat them. I always wanted to have a target for it. So there you go. And then the Hope Harbinger. You guys could run other level weights. Like the most questionable cards in here, like I said, would be the Scarlight, the Trishula, and I guess the Ultimate Azoken. And so like you guys can mix and mash it. But to be honest, the most cards that I used obviously him. I've summoned him actually one time in a 1 meter game. I summoned that a lot, even after the, whole, I didn't know that, all that other stuff. I summoned Zolkin a lot. I summoned him once. I don't remember summoning him, but I think I did. I summoned that a lot, obviously, off of Zolkin. That was probably the first thing. Boxias were always coming out. I only needed 2. And then, if I would have had him, I would have summoned him, like, 10 million% of the time, and I summoned him more than I expected. So the only 4 cards that I didn't necessarily play are these, and I feel like you guys, this is almost mandatory, and these you can miss and mash. You don't have to run the Zolmea. That's it for the main board. Now I guess I can show you guys the side deck. Side deck, I tried to keep it extremely simple. I don't even think this is 15 cards because I was still working on it. To be honest with you, if I ever sided, these were the only cards I sided. I sided the Kaiju engine, which is 3 Gameciel. You guys can see I love this Kaiju engine. It outs your Dark Destroyers if you still see Cosmo in your meta. Even against Monarchs, it outs the Domain. It outs their Crystal Wings and all that other stuff if you're playing against EDM. It outs the Chaos Max, which, like I said, I never had a trouble with, so it really didn't matter. Then you run the Sticky and the whatever its name is, the Grandeur. I didn't even know there were ones. I just call it the Wind one, the Earth one, and the Gameciel. Obviously the Slumbers and the mirror match. It's awesome. It forces the Yang Zings to miss timing. I did play one mirror match. I mean, and it wasn't really a mirror match. It was probably the game lasted maybe 10 minutes for both. Not even 10 minutes, maybe 5. I think he bricked game 1, and I opened God. Game 2. I outed his only card he can make. He made Chiwen and said you can't activate Darks, and I had the Zefranui hand, and I had a way to special summon the Jaito from my deck to make Boxia to out his only card. The E-Rad card is amazing. Go against Monarch, you E-Rad, call spells. Go against Blue Eyes, you E-Rad, call spells. Go against Demise, Teller, whatever, E-Rad, call traps. It's just, this card is literally MVP of this format. It's so underrated. Skill Drain was very nasty. Especially against almost every deck. Skill Drain is extremely nasty, and that's the reason why Bixie is still like at 2 in here, is because the main Bixie allows my monsters to still gain their effects under Skill Drain since they're unaffected by trap cards. And then the 3 Twin Twisters, I actually sided this because I've seen a lot of back row heavy decks, so I sided those in. I didn't want to discard, but at the same time, the Twin Twisters got me to win on its own right. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's not 15, so, I wouldn't main Maxies. I probably wouldn't play Effect Veilers. I wouldn't really know what to play. To be honest with you guys, I would be, if I was going to an event and I just ran this, I'd probably be very comfortable because I didn't feel that this deck had any, like, huge flaws other than the Abyss Dweller. So, the Abyss Dweller is a Abyss Dweller. You can't do anything. So maybe, I guess, breakthrough skills. So thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Kali Effect. I hope you guys really enjoyed my deck profile. If you did, give it a like. Most of all, comment as well, and then subscribe. But most of all, enjoy. You're right about that. Most of all, enjoy.